fuck? No, that was like the worst. That was gonna be super shit run anyway. Yeah, it's annoying, but I've actually never speedrun a game on PS2. How the fuck did that happen, man? Why? That makes me so mad. It's just so hard to keep track with this fucking Excel file. I need a fucking speedrun program. God damn it. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Hang on, sorry. No, that doesn't work. No. Alright, hang on. That's so dumb. No. Do I do that? No, I'm not even gonna do that. That's stupid. Fuck that shit. Fuck this shit. I have an Excel file, but it's like really hard to use because I'm just gonna zoom in here. How did I fuck that up? That's so dumb. It was also really bad luck, but yeah, I know why this keeps happening, but it's kind of just the way I designed the fucking Excel file. Anyway. No, but it's actually hella nice to be in a niche community. I mean, Pokemon's niche, but it got really big. Nobody plays Sapphire though, so it's not even like I ever had anybody to play with at all. I had like when I first started playing, it was me, this Australian dude, and this other dude from California. No, mostly because he needs more input from me first, and I'm not gonna do any grinding of the categories until I get my disc or until I can play Japanese. Basically, like, it's gonna be the most useful for all endings because of just the sheer amount of things that you have to keep track of throughout the run, as well as Treasure Hunt 1 and 2. So, but because I haven't done super extensive routing of those yet, because I don't have my disc yet, I mean, I could do routing of Treasure Hunt first. I actually should be doing that, but I just haven't taken the time to do that because of the recent, I pretty much have to go back and reroute all of the endings now that I figured out the conversation boost. So we're kind of slowly doing that. Now I'm kind of just doing this because I actually had a time to beat tonight, so I was like, do runs. And then also have been recently doing the glitch hunting because if the Out of Bounds cutscene warp was to actually be a possibility, then it would obviously change like literally everything. It would change all endings to like almost not a joke, but like it would be like insanely fast. You'd have to make a category split because all endings would be horse race ending and then just warp to every of the other endings. I agree competition makes it more fun. I mean, when I first started playing Sapphire, I did have competition. It's just that it was back when the game was so uncompetitive in the sense that like we didn't have a good enough understanding of the game to go about routing or playing in a competitive fashion. Kind of like how it started off in this game about 2 months ago. I was routing things super I don't know what would the word be. hella blind. Like, I just didn't know how the affection system worked, so I was just making actions in the game that I knew had some effect, but I didn't know, obviously, how much of an effect. If you played Harvest Moon, you know how to befriend people. You just give them gifts and talk to them, which obviously makes sense. But different Harvest Moon games have different affection systems, and this one actually has a pretty complex affection system due to the fact that the gift-giving aspect is the main focus of the game. So, yeah, this time I'm not gonna fuck this up, okay? Like, come on. I need at least 3. I don't get screwed on that. 1, 2, 3. What was I saying? Yeah, so yeah, since it's the main focus, it's Thursday, Friday. I did not do a full casual playthrough because when I first started playing this game, when I say that the affection system wasn't understood, I mean like a lot of I don't know how it is with other games, but at least in Harvest Moon, even like I'm trying to understand how much fans of any game, casual fans, really care about understanding the actual like underpinnings of their game, or like how the mechanics work. For Harvest Moon, it's all about invisible numbers that you can't see. I can't see how, like, what a number his affection is. So, because of that, I have to figure out some way to track it without, you know, because there's no status screen that I can look at, right? So, when I first started off, what that meant was counting the number of gifts that I gave him and counting how many times I've talked to each character, right? But it turns out that, well, the amount of affection a character gains actually depends on where on the map you talk to them. And they have a schedule, a weekly, daily schedule, you know, from different times of the day. They'll go to different spots on the map. That's predictable. And literally, depending on what location they're at when you talk to them, they get a different gain, right? Well, this was apparently not documented, and this game came out 17 years ago. So, and not only that, but the way that you progress through the game is by befriending characters and triggering cutscenes that progress the story. But the cutscene triggers were not understood because in order to understand the cutscene triggers, you would have to understand the affection system. So literally none of that was known about, so I couldn't even really do a casual playthrough very quickly. I mean, it would have taken me weeks. It didn't take me that long. Well, it took me about a month to do just really rough routing. And I mean like 2, 3, 6, I think. And I mean rough like you know, based on what I know about the game now, like it was producing variation in runs that I didn't understand because I really shouldn't have to go in here, but I'm going to. It was creating variation in runs that shouldn't have needed to happen, but was happening because you know, I didn't realize that because of the fact that because of the fact that on a rainy day a character is harder to get to because you usually have to wait until their shop opens because they'll be inside and their shop might not open until 8 a.m. or something like that. Whereas you wake up at 6, so you want to just on the speed run you want to go to where they are right away when you wake up in the morning and then go back to bed so you can go to the next day, right? But due to rain luck, you're going to talk to the characters on whatever day you are able to, right? But so depending on the day of the week, hang on, I'm gonna go pee really quick. Depending on the day of the week, depending on the day of the week that you would talk to them, which depended on your rain luck, you would get different affection boosts, which means no 2 runs would be the same. It's not really RNG. There's not a lot of RNG. It's just that those kinds of random outcomes, like what day you were talking to them, would impact the number of gifts that you needed to give them. If you planned your day, if you knew what the numbers were, then you could just plan your days accordingly, which is what we do now. So it's actually not that RNG based. It is. I mean, you have to avoid getting a certain amount of rain in a lot of cases. But oh shit, I fucked up. Six, call it a 1. So now it's like, okay, for Lewis, he's not really available on Thursdays very easily. So if I get rain on Thursday, it doesn't really matter. If I get rain on other days, yes, it is a time loss. But the main time loss in most cat, not most cat, well, it really depends. Some of them I haven't actually gone back and routed fully since I found out about the conversation thing. And so I'm kind of in the process of doing that. I've gone through, first I went through the process of just, okay, I'm going to complete a run of every ending, So that was Saturday. Sunday. So now that I've done that, and I've also discovered all this shit, I can go back to all the endings and come up with some more solutions. So it's really not too bad in terms of the RNG side of things. Obviously, a game like this being not particularly execution, the amount of variation you're going to get due to good or bad execution is not that much. But the amount of variation in this kind of game that you're going to get due to good or bad RNG, or call it just, RNG A versus RNG B, is going to be more, right? So at the end game of Save the Homeland, when we start grinding times lower, yes, it's going to be a good deal of RNG, but it'll mostly be resetting over rain in the early game. And since most of the any percent runs especially are under an hour, it's not too bad, and because the execution isn't demand. Like, I come from Sapphire. In Sapphire, the execution is about as hard as any Pokemon game that you could find, because it's Gen 3, so you have Mach Bike, and there's a bunch of intricate manipulations, not only RNG manipulations where you have to hit frame clusters at 60 frames a second. In some cases, you have to hit 1 frame, for example, in order to get the Mudkip that we use. But also movement manipulations that allow you to avoid trainers. The RNG is so demanding, or not the execution is so demanding while still having easily some of the most murderous RNG of any Pokemon game at the same time. So you're literally getting it from both barrels. Run after run after run after run, and the run is 2 hours long. So I think this is Tuesday. Yeah, it's Tuesday. I'm kind of losing. I gotta stay focused, but. So from that perspective, I can't really be too harsh about my opinion of this game because, you know, I do my fair share of bitching. Like, especially there's one ending where it's very reset heavy because you can't. The way that the fastest route works out that I've found so far is you can't get rain for the first 10 days, which is actually pretty difficult to reset for. Like I completed 3 runs in 127. However, a fast run of that is under 30 minutes. So it's like, okay, you know. How bad is it really if the execution... What run do I like better? They're very... It's apples and oranges. Wednesday. Fuck you. Thursday. Friday. Actually, wait, was that the rainy season? Anyway, whatever. This is Friday. No, it's not the rainy season, so I just got fucked on the Wednesday. So now I am gonna get fucked on the next Wednesday, so whatever. Yeah, it's apples to oranges, I would say. I mean, I like both of the games just as a player. I started speedrunning Pokemon because I wanted something to speedrun. I mean, I got into speedrunning for my own reasons, and I don't tend to go too far into it, but I was just trying to kill a bunch of time and didn't really want to hang out with people, and was kind of trying to do a super solitary activity that was also, you know, fun in kind of an autistic kind of way, like people always call about speedrunning. Because I'm that kind of guy. A lot of speedrunners are. But, you know, that aside, the reason why I looking back, you know, and considering everything that happened since then and how I was able to really develop the game and become one of the better runners. Fuck. Sunday. How do I get luck like this? It's just because I like Pokemon and I like the what do you call it? I just knew a lot about it going in as a player. I knew about EVs, I knew about IVs, I knew about natures, I knew the entire, you know, type chart. I had all the knowledge that you would require to be able to you would have to have in order to be successful at the game. Yeah. I mean, it's not really manipulation. It's just like talking to them at the right locations. Like, for example, the reason why I wait. This is a very good example. This dude, you have to wait. Anytime a character is walking from one location to the next, they only give +2 if you talk to them, +2 affection. However, if they're in a stationary location, they usually give at least +4. Sometimes it's +5, sometimes it's +6, right? So for Lewis there, if you talk to him right when he walks outside of his house, he gets +2. Someday. He gets +2. But if you wait for him to get to where he stands, he like stands outside for a little while, then he gets +4. So a simple difference, obviously it loses time to wait for him to walk up to you, but he gets +2 more, which means you need fewer gifts. So It's definitely not all been figured out, but I mean, I've mapped out most of those numbers so far. But like I said, it's not really manipulation so much because it doesn't involve like any kind of RNG, except for just the luck that you already had in getting the day, the day of the week that you have. Seriously forgot the day of the week. It's Monday. If that makes sense. So, weather manipulation eventually would be cool, but I'm not holding my breath. I don't have any idea how this game's RNG works. So. Tuesday. And then eventually there will probably be some YOLO routes where you will just like reset, like depending on how good the times get, you will just eventually have to reset if you get rain on certain days. Like for example, I already got some bad luck in this run, which is honestly really it's not like hella unlikely. It's just like how like I got rain on both of the days that it's not that good to get rain. So it's honestly a little silly, but yeah, that kind of stuff happens. I got rain on Wednesday and Saturday in this run. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh, I hate that. Sorry. Oh my god. Alright, well, again, I think I just fucked up my run again, so. Well, I don't know if it's fucked per se. Nah, I have 3 more. I have 2 more. That was Tuesday. Actually, yeah, so I sleep for a few days anyway. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I just, no, this will be okay. This will actually work out perfectly. I just attempted to turn towards him very carefully, but because of the elasticity of the PS2 joystick, or maybe it's just my joystick, but it seems like it's pretty common in these controllers. Like if I flick it too quick, I'm trying to reproduce it right now. Hang on. But basically it turned me around because of the snapback of the stick, and then I pressed A, and if you, I don't know, I mean, have you played this game before? I can't remember if it was you or somebody else who said they liked this game. I think it was somebody else. Wait, what day is it today? It's fucking Monday. If you press the conversation button, if you press cross while you're not facing anything, you'll just throw the item and it's lost. So, I did that, and I was trying to give it to him, but I got turned around because of the, okay. Yeah, that's a common silly feature of some Harvest Moon games. Not all seem to do it. I think it's a feature of early Harvest Moon games, because this is like the 4th console Harvest Moon game, and I think it was a feature in every single other one before this. But then, like, if you look at literally only got 1 +5 combo. It's fucked up. Damn it. Actually, I think I must have miscounted, but I don't know. This is annoying. Yeah, they got rid of that feature because it's fucking stupid. Like, it's honestly stupid. I don't know why that was ever a thought in their mind. Why would you do that? Like, so I can toss the item? build a garbage into the game. I don't fucking know. Like, there's got to be a better way to clear your inventory. In like A Wonderful Life, which is the next one that came after this. I think that's the next one after this. You can't do that. It doesn't happen like that. So anyway, but yeah, so I mean the routing can definitely be vastly improved, but it will probably eventually come down to oh, I forgot. Yeah, I don't know. I'm guessing I already fucked up my count. I don't know why I keep fucking this up. It's just hard to keep track of the day and do the movement and type into this fucking Excel file. What's Wednesday? We skipped Thursday. How low? I don't know about Japanese yet. Because it would conceivably have a different effect on every ending, because obviously basically each ending you have to befriend a different set of characters, maybe one or two, or in some cases many characters, in order to complete the ending, and each character obviously has different flavor text, so depending on how much time Japanese saves in each of those cases, it's going to save a variable amount of time in each ending, depending on the characters. So I'm really not entirely sure how much time it saves yet. And that I know, see, I turned around there. And that I know of, there's but I know if there's no other differences between English and Japanese in terms of like cutscene triggers or things like that. Yeah, I'm losing time. I'm gonna be behind here too due to bad luck, but I can save time in the last split. So. Why the fuck did I get the long flavor text? Like, I've never even seen that before. But this, I will tell you, some of the a lot of the English text boxes are super long. Super fucking long. Yo, what's up, Sam? But no, most of these can go sub hour. And there's 9 endings, and so those are all the any percent categories. Wait a second, 32, yeah, and some can go sub 30. In this run? Oh, definitely get a 39. Yeah. Oh, we mean with this run or in general? This run, yeah, you can definitely get 39, yeah. Yeah, you could get... In English, I don't know how low this one... Oh, I fucked up. There's a mini game that you play on the last split. That's actually pretty long, and I fucked it up the first time through, so I don't know how much time that loses, but... And there's another time loss on this split as well, or on the next split. Yeah, we'll see. This might be, I actually might not be able to 39 with this, but I might still PB, but barely. I'm gonna keep doing runs tonight, but this was very shitty. And but like I said, the reason why it was shitty is because I had to do 12 conversations at his, on Wednesday and Saturday. On Wednesday, he's here. He's like walking around right here. And then, also the reason why I'm waiting here is because I have to wait for him to get to the lake area to... Damn, I lost that much time for that fucking rain. God damn. To trigger this next cutscene. But, yeah, so on Wednesday he's here. And then on Saturday he's in that garden next to the shop, right outside your farm. And you don't have to wait for him to come outside. So... But I only got to give him a gift there 2 days, on 2 days. Does that mean I know what, oh, I definitely made a mistake. It's okay though. How do I keep miscounting? Alright, well that's okay. Because if anything, I actually have, yeah, if anything, I'm actually ahead on affection. Damn, dude, fuck this run. I'm gonna finish just to practice the minigame, but yeah, this is actually fucked. I didn't realize I lost so much. Damn it. Lost 2 fucking minutes. That's fucking horseshit. Is fucking horseshit. Wow. Well, actually, some of that's fake time loss. This is another thing. Splits in Harvest Moon games are pretty deceptive, depending on the category. Yeah, it's because of rainy days, but I'm also ahead on gifts right now. I think I'm ahead. Because the rainy day has multiple effects. It can lose you time, but it can also... I mean, it loses me time overall, but it has an effect where, like... Especially in this ending, like... I wanted to trigger that last cutscene at about 120 affection, but I'm at 156 right now. So if I had just not gotten rain on a certain Saturday, then it's kind of hard to explain. Like, I can only trigger that cutscene on Saturdays, so since I got rain on the last Saturday, I couldn't trigger it as early as possible. But it doesn't mean that I lose time for all of the days in between, right? It's kind of hard to explain, but yeah, I actually should save a lot of time here. I'm keeping track on an Excel sheet. That's why I'm kind of complaining, because I'm having to, like, keep track of my numbers as I play, as well as keep track of the day of the week, because there's no clock or calendar on your screen unless you pause, and pausing freezes the in-game clock. So, like, right now time's passing, and I need him... I'm waiting for him to walk outside, but if I pause to check and he walks outside at 7 o'clock, and you wake up at 6, so if I pause to check my clock, I lose time because the in-game clock doesn't keep moving. Yeah, so I have an Excel sheet set up so that whenever I talk to him here, it's a +4 conversation, and whenever I talk to him at the Carpenters or in front of Ronald's, it's a +5. So I just have that set up, basically. And then a gift is also +4. And then I have, obviously, a cell that shows me my total and adds up all those cells. But like I was saying, I want to have like a speedrunning tool where I can essentially just have a program with something of a graphical user interface where I can just click buttons and go, okay, +5, +4, +3, whatever, and it will add to the total. Yeah, it's kind of complicated, but so like, for example, wait, so this should be Tuesday. For example, I should be able to trigger the cutscene tomorrow, but my guess is I won't. And that's only due to the fact that in the past, for some reason, I haven't been able to trigger this cutscene one day after. I've had to trigger it 2 days after, and I don't know why. There's different rules about when you can... I only have that? There's different rules about when you can trigger a cutscene, how many days... Like, sometimes there's a certain number of days that have to elapse between 2 cutscenes, say. You know, it has to be at least 3 days after cutscene 2 before you can trigger cutscene 3 or something like that. It's not too complicated, it's just that to keep track of it in real time is a bitch. And I guess I technically don't need to, but it does aid in decision making. Sometimes there's certain decisions that you'll make differently. Or in theory you would, if I actually had those decision trees routed. And that comes from my experience in Pokemon, I think. Just, you know, that's a big thing in Pokemon, is depending on, you want to be able to have access to all the information so that you can make the appropriate decision. So like, I should trigger this tomorrow, but I probably won't. Wednesday. I did, fuck. Hell yes. Yeah, okay, I'm glad. Yeah, it makes sense. I fucking don't know why I thought I couldn't PB with this. It's just because, yeah. So, like I said, the time loss was fake, in a sense. So yeah, splits are tough on this one because of the way that you have to trigger these cutscenes. You can only trigger them. Most cutscenes aren't like that, where you can only trigger them on one day. But the only reason why it's on one day is because that's the only day of the week that he's actually at that location. So this is the main game you gotta win. Boom! Do I ever plan on playing games that are a little easier to manage? I personally like games like this, and I think of games like Pokemon and this game as almost like resource management games. You know, you have all these kinds of numbers going on, and that's where the routing comes from. So a lot of times you're just like playing the game, and someone who's viewing doesn't even really know how you're doing it. And this, my point is, like, they don't know what the speed comes from. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In the sense that, like, when you're watching someone speedrun Super Mario 64, it's like, it's obvious. Maybe you don't understand what they're doing, but it's obvious that, okay, someone clearly figured out the fastest way to get from point A to point B, and that's through extremely precise... What? Oh, no, yeah. And choreographed movements, right? Pretty sure you have to go all the way here, right? You can trigger this on any day of the week, right? Yeah, okay, nice. Whereas for a game like this, or like Pokemon, for example, even though they don't seem similar to each other, I see them as, like I said, kind of resource management games. Your resources vary between them. You know, for Pokemon, it's like your PP, your experience, your level, your stats, right? Your IVs, your EVs. Most of the time are just consequential, just kind of something that you accumulate over the game. But there are ways, you know, as long as you take account of what you're accumulating, then you work that into the route. But you at least have to understand that, or else you can't really play the game, run the game competently. Nice. So for this game, like I said, it's your affection, it's your it's the number of gifts that you need to pick up. So it's essentially in any percentage of foraging, because the only place that you get your gifts. Thanks, Zach. The place you get your gifts is the stuff growing on the ground, right? It's things like your, you know, even your animal affection in some cases. Like you have to track your horse's affection, cow's affection, chicken's affection, whatever. Yeah. This is I at least didn't get a botched final cutscene. Well, not only did I actually play the minigame correctly, but it's a lot easier than I thought it was. I just didn't understand how it was, how the timing worked at first, but. So yeah, like I was saying about the time loss in the second split, it's like, if I had triggered that cutscene on the Saturday that I had aimed to, yes, I would have triggered the cutscene really early, and since that's my split, then, you know, that's I would have passed that checkpoint. But I also would not have given all the gifts that I did in this run, because, you know, since you could, like I said, since you can, it's usually not as big of a variance in other runs and other of the endings, because you can usually trigger the other cutscenes in the cutscenes and the other endings on most days of the week. Dude, yeah, that's what it's about, man. That's what it's all about. I'm just glad that you're playing, because now we have some back and forth. That's what drives the time down. So, Japanese is one way that you can just straight up get a better time than me at this point. But this run also had some pretty bad luck early game. I think you saw, Zach. I only gave. It looks, I might have miscounted, but based on my chart here, I only gave 2 gifts on Wednesday or Saturday, which actually means that I only gave 2 gifts on Saturday, because of the 2 days that you trigger cutscenes. So it means I didn't have any Wednesday gifts. I think I had at least one Wednesday. No, I had at least one Wednesday gift. Oh, I'm sorry. The first Wednesday is an introduction, so you don't get a regular conversation boost. So yeah, I think I tracked correctly there. But so 15 gifts at his house, which means you have to wait till 7, and you have to go all the way the fuck up there, which means you also lose the time for having to walk all the way back. So I'll keep doing runs, actually. I'm actually kind of enjoying this ending. It's straightforward. I can talk while I'm doing it. This is easily one of the more straightforward endings. As long as you can do that minigame, that's pretty much it. But so I definitely just see this game as a decently fun way to just kind of enjoy everything I enjoy about Pokemon without all the concomitant stress. So in a way, I'm definitely kind of hiding out from Sapphire still, but I'll go back pretty soon, because I'm gonna need to take care of it and just put an end to the sub 2 just has to happen, and I'm gonna be the one to do it. But once it does, I'm not likely to keep playing Sapphire because I actually enjoy. Yeah, so there's a new game plus category for this game as well, because after you beat, oh, you'll see in a second, but after you complete an ending, the game allows you to save, and you essentially start the game over, and all the characters' affection goes back to 0, and it's like you started from the very beginning, but you have all your money, all your items, any animals that you have, any house expansions, like a kitchen or whatever, inventory, I think I said that, but tools, anything like that. So what that means is that you usually have access to items that will give the characters a bigger boost each time. So a New Game Plus run is generally just a faster version of an 90% run, and because it can be done faster or in fewer days, fewer in-game days, it usually also means that there's less chance for you to get fucked by luck, because you just overall have fewer days that you can get rained on. So there's New Game Plus, and then another ending, or another category that we have is all endings. Nobody's done an all endings run yet, but you would conceive that you would basically just do, one any percent run, and then do every ending, subsequently after that. So yeah, haven't routed that yet, but that'll be on the docket